I know that there are so many individuals and people and you out there that need to watch this and know that you're not alone, which is why I'm making this video. So, hi, I'm Britt, and welcome to my channel, Escape the Ordinary. I am a mom of 4 kids. I love being a mom, and I never thought I would. I don't know. I have a wonderful mother growing up. She's fantastic. She's like the best in the whole world, and I thought there's no way I could be such a fantastic mom, so why even try? That sounds really really bad. It was just more like I, wanted to travel the world, and I really didn't think that I could live up to being an awesome mother. And I knew part of me really wanted that, but at the same time, like, I was really scared of it. So anyways, I was really scared of becoming a mom. And then fast forward a very short amount of time, because I got married at almost 20. I was 19, and I had our first daughter when I was 21, and she's now 19. So anyways, I was my junior year of college when I was pregnant with her, and in the spring of my junior year, during finals week, I was 30 weeks pregnant, and I went into labor at 30 weeks. Looking back now, I'm like, oh, we were totally fine. But in the moment, it's scary, right? It's so scary. So, anyways, of course, you rush into the hospital and blah, blah, blah. Long story short of that, I was put on bed rest, and I was put on bed rest for 6 weeks. So from 30 weeks to 36 weeks. And then I had her at 38 weeks. So 2 weeks early. That bed rest, I thought was horrible. Little did I know. I thought it was horrible though. And it is. 6 weeks of bed rest is a huge challenge. Huge challenge. Some people that I've talked to have been like, oh, wow, that sounds like so nice to like not have to do anything. And I think, oh, if you're at that point, like, you really need a vacation. You need to take some things off your plate, reevaluate, because you're burnt out, right? If that sounds great. 6 weeks of laying on your left side without moving is torture. It's just awful. And I did it pretty good. I would go outside, and I had a lawn chair, and I would just sunbathe, because it was June, and I would just sunbathe and enjoy the sunshine and read my book. And looking back, I'm like, that wasn't as bad as I thought, but it's just not great. It's not good for your lungs, your whole body. It's just not good. 6 weeks, a month and a half. And anyways, not good for the mental health. So finished that 6 weeks, was able, had the baby, my baby, and was like, wow, like met up, postpartum, doctor visit. And I was just like, whoa, that was terrible. Is that going to happen on my next child? And he's like, oh no, preterm labor, you were finals week, you had a bladder infection, those 2 things are big triggers. So high stress, so don't even worry about it. You're going to your next pregnancies, just don't even worry. Don't even worry. So next pregnancy comes along. And so once I was like, okay, we're having our first child, I wanted to have a whole gaggle of babies. So I was like, let's just have our babies, and so that way they can all be really close. I didn't want to have one child. I wanted to have, at least 4, maybe 6, lots of kids. Let's have lots of children. And so I was like, gang ho, and right away, let's have babies. and grow our family. And, you know, they'll all be like best little buddies and they'll run around and life will be so much fun for them. So anyways, that was what I was like aiming at, you know? So, yeah, baby didn't come. Baby didn't come. Second child is what I'm talking about, obviously. So my second child, you know, she didn't come. And I couldn't understand why. The first pregnancy like happened without us, you know, on accident really. And so anyways, it was 2.5 years before we were pregnant with our second. And I was like all excited, you know, finally we got it. We got a baby. We were second child. Here we go. 3 years, like not gonna be a big deal for our age gap. So that'll be fine. It'll be fine. So second child, I went on to bed rest now I didn't do any math before I sat down to record this. So if I have my numbers a little bit wrong, I'm just going from 19 years of memory here. So just, you know, give me a little grace. I think I went into labor at 20 weeks with our second child, which is right about, I had 4 months. I had 4 months of bed rest ahead of me. So I went into labor, went into the hospital. They were like, yep, sure enough, you are in labor. So they pump you full of medications to stop the labor. And then I was sent home and I had a doctor's visit because it's late at night, right? It always happens late at night. So, well, at least it did on that one. My first one it did. Didn't matter. Anyways, back to the story. So the second pregnancy, went in to the doctor's appointment after the emergency room thing. And I'm like, what is happening? And he's like, well, I guess your body just does this. It just goes into labor when it wants to. So that's not good, especially because like this one's earlier, quite a bit earlier, 10 weeks earlier. So your pregnancy is going to, you know, your bed rest is going to be quite a bit longer. So I was on bed rest for 4 months and full bed rest. Had to lay down and I couldn't, you know, I could get up and use the restroom and I could take a shower if I sat down. So it was pretty awful and really hard with another child, right? Because now I had this child that was a little toddler that wanted to run and do things. And I couldn't parent her very well because, you know, she's just running amok and I'm stuck on the couch. So I would get up in the morning, I would walk to the couch, I would lay back down, and I'd lay there all day. And the only way I found to cope was to read books. I read so many books. I'm very grateful for books. I read so many books and I was on bed rest, as I said, for 4 months. And then when I was off bed rest, I had her about 2 weeks early again. So second baby about 2 weeks early. Both first baby, second baby had to go to the NICU, blah, blah, blah. And I say that very lightly because they were in for a very short amount of time. My first daughter was in for 4 days, which seemed like eternity while we were there, and it was very scary. Our second daughter was there for 10 days, and it was a scarier one because she would just stop breathing. So that was not great. It's not fun to have a baby in NICU. And especially when you have another child at home, because then you're torn, right? Like you love your children so much, and you can't, when one's in distress and you need to be with them all the time, but you still have this pull of like, my other child, I need to, you know, how is she feeling? She's without her mom, without her dad. How is she coping? And so we'd go back and forth between hospital and home, and anyways, 10 days felt like a long time. And I just am amazed by families that have to do that longer. So did bed rest, and post-op appointment or postnatal appointment, I meet with our doctor and he's like, well, I'm asking, like, what does this mean for the rest of my pregnancies, And he said, well, every pregnancy is going to get longer for bed rest. And I had delicate health already. And so he was like, that's concerning with your health history. And you might just consider it grateful and a miracle that you have 2 kids. So, we went home with that thought that it is a miracle, and it's an incredible miracle. It's an incredible miracle to have 2 kids. It has been 5 years since my last child was born, and I didn't think I'd get emotional. So anyways, we decided that maybe we would adopt. After the second pregnancy and during the second pregnancy, let's just say that I know depression. I know what it's like to be in a dark place. It feels like a prison to be on a couch for 4 months. And I did not know how to cope with that. After the first pregnancy of only 6 weeks, we got rid of that couch. It was a cheap couch. It wasn't like anything nice. After 4 months of the second pregnancy, I can't remember if we ditched that couch then or if we ditched it later. Anyways, it was a dark place for me, and it took me a long time to read a book again, and I didn't know if it was a good idea for me to get pregnant again. So we decided to not have any more kids, and and we decided to try for adoption. So we started working on all the paperwork for that. This is over a course of many years that I grieved and came to terms with what it would be like with just our 2 fabulous daughters. So after many years, we decided that we were going to adopt, and I was really excited about that option. I had been working very hard on my health to be healthy, and it hadn't gone well. That's another story. That's a whole nother story that I'm sure at some point I'll share. But my health had really drastically tanked. And so it was completely out of the picture for me to have another child at that point, and then like 3 years afterwards. And so after when my second daughter was 3, my health was just incredibly bad. Like I could barely walk, and I'm not joking. So anyways, not to be dramatic, but anyways, that's okay. So anyways, I was in bad shape and started working very, very hard on my health. We started going to these clinics out of the country, and anyways, just as I'm like getting to like a really stable state of health, I found out that I was pregnant with our son, Zach. And oh my gosh, I was thrilled and scared, and decided that we were going to, because I was in such a good place in my health, like in such a stable spot, I decided I was going to keep doing what I was doing as much as I could for my health, and that I would pretend, or just pretend that not pretend, but be in the mindset that this pregnancy is going to be fantastic. And I had healed so much in my health that I thought that maybe it had my pregnancy would go well. And I found out I was pregnant in about 5 weeks, which is very normal. And at 7 weeks, I went into labor. No joke. And I called the call line for our hospital or our doctor's office. And the nurse was like, there's no way that you're in labor, blah, blah, blah. You don't even know. And I was like, I do know. And if you could just get me on the phone with my doctor, that would be great. So the poor guy at 11:30 at night, he gets on the phone with me and he's like, have you, taken a bath? Are you hydrated? All these things. And anyways, yes. And at one point of the conversation, he goes, Brittany, are you even surprised that you're already having labor? It's okay. We're going to work hard to keep this baby. And we'll just start bed rest right away. That seemed like, I am remembering now. We kept the same stinking couch. We kept that stinking couch. So I went on to full bed rest at 7 weeks and spent 7 months on full bed rest. It's very humbling. I had learned a lot from the second bed rest experience that I had, and I changed the way I did it. And I'm gonna do a whole video on how to handle bed rest, but 7 months is no joke. That's why right now I can be like 6 weeks, that's nothing, because 7 months of full bed rest, that was no joke. That was very hard. And we had just decided to homeschool our kids. So now I was trying to face how to homeschool and how to be pregnant at the same time. It was really tricky. But my husband, who was fantastic, supported me the whole time. He was such a strength to me, as was my faith in our Lord Savior, Jesus Christ, because I knew that he'd felt all the pains and all the emotions and the whole experience already. And I could lean on him. So I also learned how to fill my life with purpose, even though I couldn't move. It was really hard. But our son is here and he's 11 and the cutest kid. He's the cutest. So he is fantastic. As are my older 2 daughters. I just adore them. And I think when you sacrifice a lot, your love just grows and grows. And but I knew after that third pregnancy that I felt like I can't do it again. Every pregnancy I felt like that. I can't do that again. My first one I was like, I can't do that again, but I'm going to. My second one was like, it's not a good idea for me to do that again. My third one was like, I can't do that again. 7 months is a long time to be on the couch. And you feel pretty worthless because so many other women can just, my goodness, so many other women can just go through pregnancy. What is wrong with me? Oh my goodness. I need a tissue. I thought, I have to get back to where I was. My eyes are all red now. Anyways, I thought I've told this story so many times, but I've always had some person in front of me. And I know that there are so many individuals and people and you out there that need to watch this and know that you're not alone, which is why I'm making this video. So anyways, I had our third, and he is a joy. He brings so much joy to our family. He's so fun. He is so fun. And I'm so grateful I have him. Okay, so my next. So he's 5.5 years, almost 6 years, 5.75 years after my second. So we've got a 3-year gap, 5.5 year gap. And then I was like, there is no way I can do that again. So this baby making mama is done. And we talked about adoption, but we just were like, you know what? Like, we need to not push ourselves farther than we can go. So I was emotionally spent, and I was grateful that I have my 3 kids. And I thought, you know, every child, every soul, every person is a miracle. And what a miracle it is that I have 3 children, especially when my body is so against being pregnant. So we were done, and we were so happy that we had our 3 children, like so happy. And 5 years later, found out I was pregnant again. And 5 weeks when I found out that I was pregnant, and we had just moved. We had bought some property that we were developing, and that's another whole story. That is a happy one. So I was already felt like at my max of what I could handle. The house that we were living in was 100 years old and had 100 years to, you know, help mice feel welcome. So it was not a place that I necessarily wanted to not be able to move, and found out I was pregnant and told my husband that instant. I was in my bedroom, he was in the office right next door, and I just opened the door and I said, I need to talk to you. And he's like, I'm on the phone. And I was like, hang up. Just hang up. And he did. To his credit, I'm so grateful. So he hung up and he came. Oh, I feel like I need to say I'm not wearing my wedding ring. You can see the little tan line there. I went rock climbing yesterday and I forgot to put it back on. So anyways, we're happily married. Yay. So anyways, he came into the room and was just like, what are we going to do? And I was just like, well, I don't know what to do except for here we go again. So, anyways, I called my doctor that minute instead of waiting until I was in labor. I called my doctor that minute, and he was just like shocked and like jumping for joy. He was just like, this is so exciting, Brittany. I'm so happy for you. And I was just like, thanks. What am I going to do? And he's like, well, let's just go on bed rest right now. And my heart dropped. It dropped. I was like, how can I do 8 months of bed rest? the good news is, he was like, well, let's start right now, but let's just do partial bed rest. Don't do any chores, don't cook any meals, but don't drive. I wasn't able to drive, obviously, in any of my pregnancies. Don't drive, but go on a walk every day. And my walk, you're gonna laugh at this, was literally around my house. Every morning, I'd get up and I'd go on a walk outside, around the outside of my house, and then I'd go sit back down. But for partial bed rest, I was able to take a long shower standing up. I was able to sit up and do puzzles. Yay! You know, it's bad when the highlight of your life is that you get to do a puzzle all day. But it was way better than laying down. So I was on partial bed rest for half of that. And then when I went into labor in the 20-something weeks, I can't remember when, it's kind of just like all in a blur. But went into bed rest then. Went into labor then and got put in full bed rest then. And that pregnancy, we were doing all sorts of different experiments. I don't know, it's not really experiments, but I hadn't done, well, I'd done shots with my last, I did shots with my last 2 pregnancies to help me stay pregnant. So anyways, I was doing shots and medications and, which I did medications for each one to help the baby stay inside. But, so anyways, that pregnancy, I was on partial bed rest for the first half. And we even went on a road trip, which was amazing, in an RV, and I would just like sit in my lawn chair. Anyways, and then we went, so we went on a road trip, and then a couple weeks after the road trip I got put on full bed rest. And she was born 3 weeks early. My last 2 were born 3 weeks early. My son didn't have to go to the NICU at all. Woohoo! And then my youngest, she was our tiniest baby. And so she was in the NICU for like 3 days, and I was ticked because she was so healthy and so good, and she just didn't want to eat. But you know, if you give those babies food every 2 hours without them getting super hungry, they're not going to try to do it on their own. So anyways, I was kind of mad about that one, but she was little. So I'm just grateful that I'm grateful that we have our 4 kids. And while it was really, really hard, and this video has gone longer and more emotional than I thought, I wanted to give a baseline for things that I'll be talking about over the next some videos. I'm gonna do a little series on bed rest, and I know quite a bit. I know quite a bit about bed rest, and so I thought I'd share that with any moms out there who are struggling with bed rest, how to handle it. And so anyways, stay tuned for those, and I hope you love being a mom. I sure do. Bye.